I hope you are doing well. I certainly am. It's a very good weekend, wasn't it, for West Ham United? And it's lovely to have that feeling back, isn't it? It's really nice. It's been a long while, my word, that we've had something to enjoy. And I was saying it in the previous video. I feel like I love the knock-on effect it has when you have a great result like that. You want to watch more football. You just absorb everything, don't you? You want to read about it, and it's just I'm very much in that mode at the moment. Really, really enjoying things. So it's great. It's a nice feeling. Considering the fact of this shite season we've had, it's nice to have something to actually enjoy and cheer about. So I don't know if anyone's noticed this. This is totally going off tangent here. If you go to my Twitter or X account, you'll see there's a video. It was Ben Foster doing like a podcast. We were talking about Arsenal and talking about their striker situation, and basically they just sort of casually throw him. Yeah, what they should have done is bought Jared Bowen in January, like 40 million quid. So they just got him, and then sort of talking about him like he was some sort of like bit part player to come in. He could have filled in for a bit. It's like honestly, it's worth a watch. I don't know what the podcast is. I should have probably. It just came to my mind. I'm just thinking about it. Go and check it out on my X account. You'll see it. There's a video there on it. It's just it's quite amusing actually. Just the absurdity of it all. But look, it's a good week. I'm certainly not complaining. Really looking forward to Thursday night as well. I'm going to talk about Mavropanos and Taylor Harwood-Bellis. We've had an update from EXWHUEMPLOYEE. Employee. Before I do though, if you're new to the channel, and actually I'll tell you what, a third of you watching this, a third, which is quite a lot. Pretty much every video, a third of people watching this are regular returning viewers. So you'll be someone that comes in all the time, watches the videos, but you're not a subscriber. Do subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. We do really appreciate it if you do, because it gets our channel up. It gets everything. It helps us to grow. And also hit that like button as well. We really do appreciate it again, because that also helps us to grow. Right. Let's talk first of all about Mavropanos. And the reason I'm talking about him is because the update from EXWHUEMPLOYEE suggests that his days are numbered at West Ham, that he will be likely to be leaving in the summer. This is obviously from Graham Potter wants to make some changes when it comes to the defensive line. I'm sure there'll be other people that he'll want to move on and make some changes, but it appears that Mavropanos is certainly likely to be one to depart in the summer. I'm really, it saddens me a little bit with Mavropanos because I really like him. Like I really like the guy, and I think he really does have the attributes of being a top defender. I really do. Like I've actually found 90% of what I see of Mavropanos I really like. I think he's good in the air. I think he's pretty good on the ball. He puts in the right challenges. He's not a bad player at all. I mean, at the end of the day, to come and play Premier League football, you obviously got to be a decent standard player. Obviously, he plays in the national team, hasn't he, for Greece, and played for Arsenal. He's not a bad player. The issue I find with Mavropanos is that you're always waiting on an error. He's just so prone, isn't he, to making these mistakes. And I feel like it's a combination of a lack of concentration. I feel like sometimes he possibly daydreams a little bit. He just loses his concentration on what he's supposed to be doing. And I feel like sometimes as well, he has that rash decision making about him, that panic that I'm just going to just do something really quickly and he, without giving it enough thought, or he's got a little bit of that about him. And I feel like those two traits really hamper him as a defender. And I've kind of got to the sad stage with him now where it's almost like you're not going to get better. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm always hoping that he's going to get that. I've talked about it a fair few times, haven't I? When I've talked about him before, I'll say maybe you don't know I've said this, but I have said it regarding that with him, and saying that it's that I was hoping this would sort of be eradicated from his game over time, that he'd be coached out of him, that he'd learn how to adapt. But I'm just getting to that stage now where I'm like, you're just not. This is who you are as a player, and unfortunately, I think it's going to cost him his place at West Ham. I really do, because you've only got to look at the. I mean, I've got a couple of things spring to mind immediately. That immediately that when we just had the challenge in the Arsenal game, so he came on in the game to take over from Tadibo with half an hour to go. Like many, I was nervous. Oh God, he's going to make an error. And then I think to myself, and to be fair, he really didn't most of the part. He was pretty good. And then what's he doing in the 90th minute, whatever it was, right at the death? He then just lashes out and kicks out at Trossard, who wasn't even bloody running towards goal. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he had to make the challenge thinking, well, I've got no choice. He's not even running towards goal. Like he's just running away from goal. Just follow the guy, And it's things like that really infuriate me. And also the one that springs to mind was the one I'm thinking recently, Crystal Palace at home, when he got the sending off, and again, pointless challenge, stupid, rash. And I think that these situations are they're just piling now. Do you know what I mean? It's always inevitable. You just feel like every game he plays, he's going to make an error or possibly two. And they're big errors. You know, I mean that mistake against Arsenal could have cost us the game. You know, it could have led to a draw because it was a free kick right on the edge of the box, and it was again totally unnecessary. So the update from EXWHUEMPLOYEE employee is stating that it's likely Mavropanos is going to go. It's not saying it's a definite 100%, but it's likely that Potter's going to allow him to move on. As we're being linked now very heavily with Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Now we have been linked with Harwood-Bellis before. We were linked with him when he was at Manchester City. I'm a big fan of him actually. I think he's a good player. I don't think the move to Southampton's worked particularly well. I mean, Southampton are dire side in the Premier League this season. It's shocking actually how bad they've been. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to be that bad. I appreciate the gulf between the Championship and the Premier League is big, but bloody hell, we're starting to see it more and more, aren't we? This season has been quite eye-opening. That you look at these teams thinking these were teams that were doing very well last season, and they're in the Premier League and suffering badly. I mean, Southampton have been diabolically bad. So I do feel for him. I do feel it was a move that he probably looks back and thinks I could have done better, gone somewhere a bit more suitable for him. But I really like him. 23 years of age, centre back. You know, as I say, coming from that academy of Man City that always seem to produce such quality. He's worked all the way from the England teams. I think he's made a senior appearance for England. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he did. He made it last year and scored a goal. That's right. Yeah, he made a goal. He's gone from under 16 right the way through to the senior squad. He's had a decent enough time. Obviously, he was at Southampton as well last season, wasn't he, for their promotion? He was on loan. He's a good player. I've been really impressed with him. So it's now looking very likely that we're going to make a move for him, as far as we understand it, in the summer, which I think I'm going to say really, really behind that. Young player, that's what I want. Younger players that we can build on. And I can't imagine he would be immediately in the West Ham starting 11. He's one of those players, but I think he'll be one of those that will be around. He can force his way into the team, and it's what we need. And I certainly feel like it's needed in terms of Mavropanos. I feel like he needs to move on now. I don't think that his errors are going to get any better, which is a real shame. But the interesting twist with Harwood-Bellis is that he's changed agents actually not too long ago. I think it was about a week ago. He changed an agent to Will Salthouse. Good old Will Salthouse, as we well know, is a favoured agent of West Ham, and in particular David Sullivan. I know people listening to this will be annoyed, and I get it. When you talk about transfers, the last name you really want to hear is David Sullivan. However, I don't really think he's had match involvement massively. I know in January he made some ridiculous bids. I mean, that was all because Tim Stighton thing, but I'm not really convinced he has a huge involvement massively in transfers other than at this stage anyway. And especially the last few transfer windows. The last one, I know he had a couple of bids he was putting in, obviously Duran stuff and all that, but I'm not too against this. That's what I'm trying to say. I think if you consider the fact that Aaron Wan-Bissaka came through the similar route in the summer, Will Salthouse client, etc. Let's be honest, he's turned out to be our signing of the season, isn't he? Wan-Bissaka, outstanding player. Absolutely love him. So pleased we got him. I could not be happier. So it looks like that Harwood-Bellis is going to go down the same route. I feel like that's a really likely one now. My guess, if I had to completely guess what's happened here, is that West Ham want to get a deal done for Harwood-Bellis. He probably fancies the move, and then they've said, "Well, I'll tell you what, go with Will Salthouse. That will manoeuvre things a lot smoother to get moved over to East London." So I'm really hoping that is the case, and we get him in the summer because that is looking likely. He will be. I mean, he's facing relegation, of course. Southampton will be going down, then there's no chance of staying up. So he will be wanting to move. I'm really pleased about this. I think this is going to be a good move for West Ham. I think it'll be a good fit. I think he's someone that I like the fact that Graham Potter wants to work with him, which I think is hugely important, of course, as well. I just think that there's a lot of boxes being ticked here, homegrown as well. A young homegrown player that you can keep at the club for the long term, and I just feel like it's an investment. I feel like with Harwood-Bellis, I think you've got a young player that could really go on to become a really big player for West Ham in the future. So yeah, I'm fully behind this. I think it's a good move. And we expect it to happen in the summer then. I think that West Ham will be making a bid pretty early. It feels like this is one that's already being set up and teed up as going to happen pretty sharpish. So that's a pretty good update from EXWHUEMPLOYEE. We've got some more updates coming. He has put up a recent podcast with bits and pieces. So I'm going to be putting videos out during the week regarding those and bits and pieces. But look, this is a good time, isn't it? I'm really, as I say, buzzing for Thursday night. We'll have the preview out for that tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, Wednesday tomorrow. So we'll have the preview out for that tomorrow, and I'll talk about a couple of other bits. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do the preview tomorrow. Then Thursday we'll do more of a roundup of a sort of bits and pieces regarding the club and a few little bits regarding the summer. Obviously, Jonathan David's a big sort of talking point at the moment. West Ham actually are tabling a bid for the player, a package apparently to put on the table. X has stressed that it's unlikely we're going to sign him. I feel like that's the sort of, the sort of message across the board, isn't it? The West Ham are sort of the outsiders to get him. But you know what? There's a little part of me that feels like we could do it. I don't know why. This part of me feels like we might be able to sway him over to West Ham. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely deluded. I think it's the Arsenal thing. That's what happens. West Ham win a game, and I feel like we're going to live inside Messi now. Well, old Messi, younger Messi. I want the younger version. We have him. Yeah, so that's where we are with that. Harwood-Bellis to West Ham. I think that's going to happen. To be honest, I think that's looking a very, very likely scenario for this end of this season, which would be good. And yeah, Mavropanos leaving, which is no big surprise. I think there's a lot of fans that wouldn't be too disappointed about that. It's just a shame because I like him, and it's not like I wouldn't want him as a backup. But I feel like with the wages he commands and things like that, he's a senior player, and I feel like he's not injury prone, sorry, he's too accident prone, and it's just. Yeah, I do want us to address it, so I think it's the right thing. So, yeah, so preview up tomorrow. Looking forward to it. I can't wait to talk more about football, and I can't wait to bloody watch West Ham play again. That's what happens, isn't it, when West Ham win one match? We're going to win the league now. It's easy. Anyway, until then, come on, you irons.